can say is every minute of your time spent here will be worth it. And if there's anyone that you know that should be here that is not here, please try and reach out to them, because the next couple of hours is going to be destiny defining and life transforming. And the end of this session would have successfully impacted enough knowledge that would give people the opportunity to make informed financial decisions that will better their lives, their career, their businesses, and whatever it is they have. We'll be talking about things that border on wealth creation, wealth preservation, and also wealth transfer. So we'll be talking about things that will help you, not just you, but even your generations unborn. And also during this session, our one of the objectives is to just draw back the curtain and open our eyes into that limitless financial space. There's a whole lot on the financial markets. There's a different market, different investment vehicles you could actually push your funds into. How you are here in Canada making money and how you can make more money. I think about 2 weeks ago, I was discussing with a friend and I said, it's not so much about how much you make, but what you do with your income. So there are two people now. One is making 150, the other one is making like 70,000. Good luck to both of them. But if the other fellow has more financial knowledge, it's just a question of time. That role will reverse. That is just as simple as it is. So we're going to teach you a lot of open secrets. We are going to talk to and this will speak to different demographics: old, young, male, female, married, single. If you're an employee, you're a business owner, there is something for everyone. It's just a fat feast. So everyone is in. Even if you're still working, you're retired, you're about to retire, you have 2 years. Even if you're in debt, God forbid, you have this line of credit you are battling with, you don't even know what to do with it. There is something for everyone. So it's going to be very robust. It's going to be knowledge packed. And one other thing we want you to please note is it's going to be we would appreciate if it's very interactive. And if you have questions, because we are here to impact knowledge and we're also here to learn from you. If you have any question, please, at the end of the day, ensure you please note it down. We'll take question afterwards. And I didn't come here on my strength alone because, like I said earlier, the financial market is very broad. And so we have people that have walked the world, people that have gone ahead of me in the industry. Personally, I have an accumulated 18 years in the financial industry back home in Nigeria and also here in Canada. And I also have people that have gone ahead of me. I've worked um, in the insurance space, mainstream banking, so there's a whole lot of knowledge out there. However, I still have a lot of people who have gone way, way ahead of me in the industry. They have walked the walk, they have talked the talk. These are directors, these are authorities in their field. And the best way to help people, we actually rise by lifting others. So it's to impact knowledge to people, to tell them how you can do what we do. We show you what we do, how we do what we do, how you can start doing what we do and make the same impact that we are making. Um, Personally, in your personal space, and even that could transcend to people around you. So please feel free, relax, and let's enjoy this ride together. But please grab a sheet of paper. I know you are very smart in this church, but grab a sheet of paper and get a pen, note things down, ask questions. There is no question that is too oh, that's a silly question. Anybody who's going to laugh at me, please ask. Like I said, we're also here to learn. We're not just here to dish out knowledge. We are here to rub minds together so that we can spark something and generate something in this buffer zone. And so I'm pleased to, the main speaker for today, his name is Salami Bolan, who is an executive director, also in the financial space. And he will be the one dishing this out. We'll be talking about the different investment vehicles that you could use. Even if you know about these things, I beg of you, stay back, sit back, and learn. You could be learning from for someone in your life. It might not be for you, it might be for someone. But you can only help that someone if you know. You only know so much. So let's enjoy this together. Thank you so much again for having us. We do not take this lightly. We are very, very thankful, appreciative. And Mr. Golan, you have the floor now.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Thank you everyone for joining this call this evening. So I'm going to get into business right away. Can the host allow me to share the screen? All right. So my name is Golan Salami. I'm one of the executive directors with Experior Financial Group. Basically, what we do is educating families in Canada about financial planning. You know, we show them different ways in which they can actually plan their finances, plan their retirement, you know, different wealth building concepts and strategies, and also plan for kids' education. There's a saying that says information is the difference between the rich and the poor, right? The more information that you have at your disposal, the more you are able to help yourself, right? So we're from Experior Financial Group, and who we are, we started operations in 2014. We have our head office in Guelph, Ontario, and also we have a US head office in Buffalo, New York. We are licensed in all provinces in Canada and also in all states in the United States. We represent more than 75 insurance and wealth management companies across North America. And our associates own a book of business and can also become shareholders of Experior. So we have branch offices in major cities across Canada and also in the US, and we are still expanding. Now, supporting our advisors and clients and industry, we are proud members and sponsors of Independent Financial Brokers, and also we are proud members of CALBA. For CALBA, our members promote the transparent, ethical, and fair treatment of consumers, brokers, and all members alike. In addition, we adhere to uniform industry standards in all aspects of our operations with a keen focus on safeguarding data compliance, education, and efficient processing of information. Now, moving into the topic of today, we want to know how the differences between all of the investment vehicles that we have in Canada. Where should I be putting my money? What happens to the money I put in a vehicle? How can I save in taxes, right? What's the capital gains? You know, there are so many questions one need to actually ask when it comes to investment, right? Some are very, very juicy, but at the end of the day, what happens, right? So having a lot of information about where do you want to put your money, which type of funds do I want to put my money, what happens if I die, what happens to my money left behind, how is it going to be disbursed to my beneficiaries? So it takes a lot process for all of those things when we are taking our decisions, right? You have to know at every point in time, have I taken the best decision for myself and my family, and if I'm gone today. So we want to look at stocks and mutual funds, but it's going to be a little bit elaborate more than stocks because so many people don't know that there are other vehicles or there are other funds apart from mutual funds, right? So I'm going to be going into it's going to be stocks, mutual funds, and also segregated funds, right? Going into segregated fund is also a mutual funds, right? But the only difference is wrapped with insurance guaranteed, right? Mutual funds wrapped with insurance guarantee. So these are the things that we are going to be looking at understanding all of those things so that we can take informed decision on what we need to do with our money. Now, what is a stock? Stocks represent ownership in a company, right? For example, Apple, when Apple started from ground zero, their shares was what, like maybe $1, $2. But as time goes on, the company grew, right? And the stock, the value increased. Right now, it's close to like $150 or $180, right? So when you talk about stock, getting into a company, you need to understand what is the vision of the company, right? What can the company be in the next 10, 20, 30 years, right? Going early into buying stocks of a company, right, will actually make you more money in the future. So getting into the stock market, you have to get in for the long run. If you really understand, if you look at all those rich men that went into bought Amazon and Apple and all that, they went in very, very early when the company was starting. They saw the vision, they plugged into it, and in the next 10, 15 years, they are able to reap the dividend of their investment. So ownership in a company is more is a stock. You are a part owner. You have something. You have a stake in the company. So when you buy a stock, you become a partial owner, right? You own something in the market, in the company. Traded on stock exchange like NYSE, TSX, earn money through capital gains and dividends. So the key features of stocks: high potential returns. Like I said, if you buy a stock today, $2, right? And in the next 10 years, the company does well, everything works well with the company, their stocks increase to $100 per unit, right? That means you have made a lot of money for yourself, right? So getting in early for stocks is very, very important. You control what you buy and sell. Higher risk, and it depends on the company's performance. So before you invest in stocks, you have to get the history of the company, right? You know what their plans are. What are the things they are doing? What is the new technology coming in? It has to do with a lot of factors before you can project that this stocks is going to do well in the next 1 or 2 years. Then let's look at mutual funds. Now, what's a mutual funds? It's just pooled investment from many investors, right? Managed by professional fund managers, invested in a mix of stocks, bonds, and other assets. Now, for mutual funds is a way of diversifying your portfolio, right? Now, when I buy Amazon stocks, I put all my money in Amazon. If something happens, it crashes, I lose all my money, right? How do I balance my risk? How do I get into the market and, I don't lose everything I'm going in with? That's when you invest in a fund like that, like mutual funds, where they have a bit of Amazon, they have a bit of the health industry, they have a bit of maybe hospitality industry, and so your risk is spread amongst all this industry, right? And when all of them are progressing, they are building, they are making money, you're making money, right? But let's say out of a pool of funds in one fund, we have like 10 companies and 3 are going down. The remaining 7 will still lift you up because your money is being diversified. So mutual funds, the key features: diversified, reduce individual risk, asset risk, suitable for beginners or long-term goals, and there are some fees applied. So one of the things about investment is you have to be there for the long run. Money needs time to grow. A lot of us feel that we can put money today and turn it over in the next 1 year or 2. Some of those investments are very, very, very risky, and a lot of people lose their money. So you have to be prepared. What is the plan? What plan do I have? If I'm putting this money, how long do I want the money to be there? What's my future plan? What's my financial independence number if it is attached to your retirement plan, right? So how much do I need to be able to retire well? At 65, which is the retirement age in Canada, in North America, how much do I need to be able to do whatever I want to do without working, live the kind of lifestyle I want to live? So how much should I be putting aside, right? What's my risk appetite? All of those things are things that we have to put together, in making a decision. Now, I said I was going to put segregated funds, which so many people don't know about, into the mix. What are segregated funds? Investment products from insurance companies that are combined mutual, they combine mutual funds growth with insurance protection. Now, there are three characteristics of, let's say, a retirement plan, right? No, four. Number one, security, which is very, very important. Anywhere you're putting your money, what is the security? If I put $100,000 down, what security are you giving me? If something happens, I lose the whole money, what happens? So security is very, very important. Liquidity, right? Anytime I need my money, how can I have access to it? Access to your money. Then growth. Good growth. Is my money growing? There's something we call Rule 72 that really determines how your money grow, right? If you're investing in a fund that is giving you 3%, if you divide 72 by 3, it shows how your money will multiply. 72 divided by 3, that's like 24. That means if I put $10,000 in such an account that is giving me 3%, it's going to take 24 years before the money multiplies. So where am I investing? It's very, very important to really understand that. So segregated funds is also a mutual funds, but it's wrapped with insurance guarantee, right? Investment is backed by insurance guarantee that offer added security and estate planning benefits inclusive. So you are getting a mutual funds, you are also getting a guarantee and security with your investment. So let's do a quick comparison in between stocks and mutual funds. Stocks, direct ownership, higher risk, higher reward, right? When you say it's very, very good for everyone to have a degree of risk appetite, because if you don't have risk, you can't really build money within this financial space, right? I see a lot of people, I don't want to lose my money. I don't want to lose. If you don't want to lose your money, you don't want to make money, right? That's why statistics says in Canada, 70% of Canadians, right? Or let's say 65% don't even have, at 65, they don't even have $100,000 or $200,000 for their retirement, because a lot of people made wrong decisions when they are young. So stocks, direct ownership, high risk, mutual funds, indirect ownership, diversified and more stable, right? Stock, buying one slice of a pizza, that's just a simple analogy. In one company. Mutual funds is a combo box, right? Where you have a bit of all scattered everywhere in one piece, right? Now, let's look at a quick differences in between the two stocks and mutual funds. So shares ownership in a single company, that's stocks, but in mutual funds is a pool of investment managed by professionals. In stocks, direct ownership of a company, mutual funds, indirect ownership of many securities. Stocks, higher risk, depends on the company performance. Mutual funds, lower, diversified across assets. So management, self-managed or through brokerage. Mutual funds, professionally managed. And you look at the cost. Low transaction fees, but requires active tracking, right? Management fees for mutual funds, but passive investments, right? If you look at liquidity, higher liquid, public stocks, mutual funds, liquid, but may have restrictions, e.g. redemption. That's when you want to take the money out. So returns potentially high, but volatile, right? That's where we have to strike a balance. Yeah, you can be up today and it can slam you tomorrow, right? But mutual funds, more stable, typically lower than individual stocks. So essentially in stocks, you can actually go 200% gains in stocks, right? Very, very volatile. You can make money today and tomorrow something happens with the company, you lose all the money, right? But in mutual funds, it gives you a little bit stability, right? There's no how you're going to lose all your money within such a portfolio. So stocks, best for experienced and active investors, while mutual funds, beginners and those seeking diversification. Now, let's look at mutual funds and segregated funds. Now, like I said, segregated funds is also a mutual fund, but it's wrapped with insurance guarantee. So usual for mutual funds, investment companies and fund managers. Segregated funds is strictly issued by insurance companies. Ownership, units in a pooled investment. Segregated funds, insurance contracts. Guarantees, no maturity or death benefit guarantees. In segregated funds, it offers 75% to 100% guarantees on maturity or at death. So that is a form of security for what you're building within the portfolio, right? There's no guarantee in mutual funds. At death, they are not guaranteeing you anything. If anything happens, the whole thing is gone, right? But in segregated funds, because it's wrapped with insurance guarantee, you have a degree of, assurance that if something happens and, I still get something out of what I've built so far within the policy. Then you look at creditors protection, not protected from creditors. Imagine if you're building wealth within a portfolio and you also have a loan somewhere, right? If they want to come after you, right, with your debt, and you have your funds within the mutual funds investment, there's no protection for you. They give you all the documents. Yeah, he has money here. Yeah, they can come for you and get all your money from that. So, but in segregated funds may offer creditor protection, especially for business owners or professionals, right? It offers you creditors protection. And when it comes to estate planning, may go through probate. Probate is someone dies, right? Before your beneficiaries or next of kin, have access to whatever you've built. It goes through probate. It can take 6 months, 7 months. You go in front and back in court and all that before your beneficiaries can have access to all the funds that you have within such portfolio. And let's assume you have $100,000, right, at death, right? Before the money even gets to your beneficiaries or next of kin, they will have taken cost of probate, cost and all that. Maybe they will get like $85,000, right? So you have to be prepared to understand that, okay, this is what my beneficiaries will get from a mutual fund, right? Whereas in segregated funds, when someone dies, your whatever that you have in your portfolio or whatever goes straight to your beneficiary. So in mutual funds, generally low fees. And in segregated funds are typically higher fees due to the insurance guarantee. But what will you prefer? Will you prefer to pay low fees and lose more money at the end, or will you prefer to pay a higher fees and you guarantee that your beneficiaries have access to something when something happens? So if you look at the regulation, regulated by Security Commission, in segregated funds is regulated by provincial insurance regulators. Pay on debt, paid to estate or beneficiary, but may involve probate. While segregated funds is paid directly to your beneficiary. Reset options not available. Some segregated funds allow reset of guarantee values. right? So you can actually reset. There's what we call classic 75-75. That is, it's guarantee 75% guarantee at maturity and 75 guarantee at death. And there's another one is 75% guarantee at maturity and 100% at death. And the last one is guarantee classic 100-100, which is maturity 100 and debt 100%. So that is guaranteed within segregated funds. So tax efficiency, capital gains loses tax in non-registered accounts. In segregated fund may offer tax deferred growth inside contracts, right? So these are important keys to really understand. If I make so much money within a stock market, right? How much will I actually get from it? How much will the government take away, right? So understanding all of those things is also important to really know how to grow your wealth. So suitability, ideal for growth-focused investors, comfortable with market risk, suitable for conservative investors seeking protection and estate planning benefits. So let's talk about the capital gains, right? Capital gains refer to the profit earned from selling an investment at a higher price than it was bought. So capital gains stocks, buy rate 100, sell rate 150, you have a $50 capital gain. So there are two types of capital gain that we have. Realized gain, when you actually sell the stock and make a profit. Unrealized gain, when the stock value increases, but you haven't sold it yet. Now, what's the tax implication? If you have $100 and your $100 grows into 150, right? And you want to liquidate your stock, right? That means you have a $50 capital gains on 100. What happens? There is what we call, there is a rule in Canada that you pay 50% of capital gains is taxable, right? That means your $50 that you profit, half of it is going to be taxed. It's going to be added to your income tax, depending on your marginal tax rate for that year. So let's assume your income is like $150,000 in a year. That means your marginal tax rate bracket will be like almost 40-45%. So you are losing that percentage on the half that you gain in capital gains. So capital gains stocks, okay. So capital gains refer to the profit earned from selling an investment at a higher price than it was bought, right? So that just explains everything I just spoke about. So 50% of the capital gains is taxable income. If held in a tax advantage account like TFSA, RRSP, gains may be tax-free or tax deferred. So that is going to take me down to the vehicles that we can actually use to invest in the stock market, mutual funds, or segregated funds. So different investment vehicles, we've talked about stocks, mutual funds, ETFs, bonds, GIC, real estate, RSP, TFSA. These are different investment vehicles that one can actually use to build wealth in this part of the world. So for you, when you're building your portfolio, you always have to think about tax. Where am I investing? Is it tax efficient? Which is very, very important, right? So preserve capital with strategic tax management. Earnings like interest, dividends, and capital gains are tax-free or tax deferred. Keep more of what you earn with smarter investment strategies, optimized for retention, and long-term growth, which is very, very important. So, what are some of the vehicles that we can actually use to go into the stock market or go into segregated funds or mutual funds, right? To really accelerate the growth of our money. So there are so many accounts that government has actually designed for us to use as a vehicle to get into all those markets. Number one, if you want to buy a home, right? There's what we call FHSA, First Home Savings Account. This is a vehicle designed for Canadians to plan towards buying a home, right? For example, if you want to buy a home, let's say in the next 5 years, right? Government allows you to put a maximum amount of $8,000 in your portfolio every year for the next 5 years. That's a total of $40,000. You know what that does in your FHSA? You are now using that vehicle to invest in the stock market or mutual funds or segregated funds, right? So that vehicle will now allow you to get into that market, make some profit over your contribution, and have something significant to do a down payment for your first home. For example, let's assume you wait for 5 years, you put $8,000, right? That's a total of $40,000. By the end of the 5th year, your $40,000 might have grown to, like, let's say $50,000 or $55,000, depending on the rate of returns and the kind of funds that you put together into that portfolio. So that is an advantage. And guess what? With FHSA, you can also use that to save in taxes that year if you invest into it. For example, for somebody that earns like $150,000, your marginal tax rate is like 45%, right? Now, if you put $8,000 into your FHSA, you get, when you file your taxes, you get 45% of that $8,000 back from government. That means your money, 8,000, is working in stock, in bond, or whatever investment, and you still get money back from government in addition, right? We also have RRSP. RRSP is another vehicle that you can use to get into the market, into the stock, bond, mutual funds, segregated funds, right? RRSP is a plan, registered retirement savings plan, that is good for you to plan for your retirement, right? All these vehicles are, when you look at taxes, it helps you, to build something, right? And have access to it, taxes, saving in taxes here and there. That is the essence of using registered accounts, right? Now, I always tell my clients, the first place that you need to invest in here in Canada, you have to max out your registered account first before you start going into other options. If you have an RRSP account and your room contribution, when you go into your CRA account, you have like $50,000, $40,000, and you don't want to put money there. You want to go into the stock and just start investing. I mean, what will be your gain? Because you get your money, they slash this, they take this away, and at the end of the day, you're not really gaining much. Why don't you invest in the registered account first? Now, if you make so much money, you max out your RSP, your TFSA, all of these accounts, yes, then you can now think, where else do I want to go? And there are still other options where you can also put all of those things. So we also have RESP for your kids' education. Sorry, before I go into that, TFSA is also a very wonderful vehicle in which you can get into stock market, mutual funds, and also segregated funds. Now, TFSA is tax-free. This is one of the vehicles that everybody has to use. You have to max your TFSA out every year, right? Because whatever that you're building in it, you are getting your capital and the accrued interest tax-free. So using your TFSA account, I mean, it's very, very important, right? When you're building wealth. Now, there's a strategy I used to teach my clients. Use RRSP. When you use your RRSP, you get some money back. Throw the money into your TFSA. Use your RRSP. When you get money back from government, put it into your TFSA. You'll be building the two accounts. When you get to retirement 65, you start spending from your TFSA first because it's tax-free. Then you defer your RSP to like 70, 71, when your tax burden will be reduced more, right? So you can get more out of the money that you're building in your RSP. So it's always very, very important to understand all of those principles. So tax-exempt accounts accelerate progress towards those goals. So it's very, very important to know which vehicle you're using. So improved wealth protection and enhanced financial stability, reduced tax leads to greater control over your cash flow, helps you to build emergency funds, plan, and weather unexpected expenses. So, tax-exempt investment portfolios, because we have to understand where are we investing, which vehicle am I using to get into the stock market, which vehicle am I using to get into other, although I've explained this, tax free savings account, TFSA, all income and gains are tax-free, even without, even upon the withdrawal. For bonds, interest from certain bonds may be exempt from federal and state taxes. RESP is for kids' education. Growth is tax deferred, withdrawals taxed in students' lower income. When you're investing into RESP also, you get some money from government. They had 20% of what you contribute, right? For example, if you are a PR holder or Canadian citizen or whatever, government gives child benefit, right? Those child benefits are not meant to be spent, right? A lot of women will say, no, getting this, it's not a free money. It's for you to invest the money back for the kids into their RESP, right? To plan for their future. You are getting extra $500 if you put $2,500 into investment for the child. When they are 17, they can easily take money out and go to school, right? When you see that the tax, whenever you want to invest more, it's not about schooling. What happens after school? You want to build a future, financial future. There are some other vehicles that you can also put in place for that. RSP. So I've talked about RSP, tax deferred. Tax deferred means when you're putting money into your RSP, it's tax sheltered. You don't pay taxes, you still get some money back. That is tax deductible. When you're 65 or when you're 71, when you want to start taking the money out, that's when government is going to tax you based on what you withdraw. Now, that's when that strategy comes in. Your tax rate at 65 might still be a little high. Because you have your TFSA, you start spending from your TFSA at 65. You still push your RFA to like 71, where it is reduced. And at 71, you can actually even transfer your RSP contribution, whatever that you build within it, into a RIFT account. Now, that RIFT account further reduces the tax burden on you, right? That's you can now your funds go into annuity where it begins to give you less than like $3,000 or $4,000 every month, thereby shying away from the tax burden at that age. So there are so many strategies to go about this. So they are very, very important tools to use to build wealth here in Canada. So now let's now go into some of the solutions. When you're building wealth in this part of the world, it's very, very important to know, how do I start? Just like building a house. If you want to build a house, you don't start building the house from the roof. Where do you want to put the roof? Or you want to start putting the walls on the floor, right? If there's any storm, what happens? Everything washes away, right? So you have to protect, you have to give the structure stability. That's why you have a solid foundation that give whatever that you want to build stability. And one of the things that you need to do when you're planning your finances is to protect everything that you're going to build. You need to have a good insurance in place. Now, let's talk about different insurance options. We have life insurance, we have the term and the permanent life insurance, right? So these options, if you want to protect yourself for a short period of time, right? In the next 10, 20, 30 years, I need to have something if something happens to me. Now, I always ask people this question: if you go out today and you go out today and you don't come back, will your family be fine? Well, what is going to happen to your family? Have you prepared something? Because we always want to build something without trying to protect what we are building. What's going to happen if I go out today and I don't come back? We've seen a lot of people that go out like that and they don't come back. So it's very, very important to always lay the foundation. Now,
obey traffic laws, be alert.
Statistics says out of 2 Canadians, at least 1 might be diagnosed with cancer. That's the current trend. So it's very important to put a critical illness in place for everyone. You never know. You must make sure that you have something in case anything happens. If we have free health services and all that in Canada, even if they are treating you free, there's going to be loss of income, right? Your bills is not going to stop, right? Something has to come in for you. That's where you lay a foundation for your wealth. Have a critical illness, disability insurance, health, dental, all of those things are very, very important. Dying in Canada is expensive. If anybody dies in Canada, it costs them $25,000 to $35,000 just to bury someone. What have you put in place in case something happens, right? That's why you see a lot of people, they go and open GoFundMe account just trying to raise money to be able to bury someone. And guess what? A lot of people cannot raise even $10,000 out of $35,000 in a GoFundMe account, right? So it's very, very important to make sure that I'm setting myself up, I'm setting my family up for success, right? Now, a lot of Africans, we don't build generational wealth, right? It's high time everybody needs to think, if something happens, what will happen to my children or my children's children? A lot of people say, no, I've done this for my kids, they'll take care of themselves. We have to start, building generational wealth for ourselves. So I've talked about the investment portfolios. Now, these are all registered accounts. We also have non-registered accounts. Non-registered accounts has no function. That's the difference. It has no function. You can invest $2, $3, $4, $3 million directly into non-registered account. It goes into stocks, bonds, and all of those things. You can, build something, but guess what? With whatever that you build within it, once you want to take it out, if you even pay, they send your tax document every year. Whatever that you gain within that portfolio, you get your tax document to be able to file your taxes. You pay your capital gains, right? So that's non-registered account. It has no function. It doesn't save taxes for you. It's just for you to build wealth within it and pay your capital gains. So I'm going to skip all this and go into other benefits. When you're building wealth, you have 1 or 2 properties, you have this and that. It's very, very important to put your will in place. Now, if anybody dies in Canada without a will, haven't built all of those things, and you don't have a will, government has the prerogative to distribute your wealth as they wish. That might be against your will if you were to be alive. Nobody wants that. So you have to put something in place, right? If anything happens, this has to be in place. And make sure every year you review it. You sit down, what do I have? What do I have? Let me do this. Now, that's part of estate planning. Now, the key tools for estate planning, you talk about your will, your maybe trust, you have your permanent life insurance. Permanent life insurance is very important for generational wealth, right? Generational wealth. If I die, I want $1 million for my children so that they can pass it on to the next generation. Or let's build a trust, the trust for the family. I have a permanent life insurance. I name the trust as the beneficiary. I buy life insurance for my kids. I name the trust as the beneficiary. That's how one can build a generational wealth. If I die, they pay the proceeds of the life insurance policy into the trust. Now, in the trust, I will have listed this is when Korede is 25, release certain amounts. If you graduate, do this. You've set up the family for success, just having all these two put in place. And they do the same, right? When the father dies, there's instruction for the kids to also get life insurance for their kid through the trust. The trust is going to be paying for all of those things. That's how to continue, building generational wealth. Then you have a POE. So there are 4 things that are tax-free in Canada that one has to utilize first. Number 1, your principal residence. That's your first home. When you buy your first home, let's say you bought it for 500, you sell after like 20 years for like $1 million, you get to keep the equity built on the cost price of the house tax-free. That is one of the things that is tax-free. So as much as possible, if God helps us to buy a house, right, that is part of our generational wealth, right, that we can also leave behind. But when you buy the first one, you buy a cottage, second one, you buy all of those things, attracts a lot of capital gains that, you're going to lose a lot of money when you sell. Now, number 2, if you win a lottery, you get all the money tax-free. And number 3, your all these accounts like TFSA, FHSA, you can build wealth within this portfolio and have access to your money tax-free. And the last one, which a lot of people underestimate what life insurance can actually do for you. Life insurance is not about if I die. Now, I call term a death insurance, and that's what it is. It is when you die, something comes to your beneficiary. And I tell you, less than 1% of term insurance payout, because a lot of people outlive their term insurance. Less than 1% of term insurance payouts. How do you want to build a generational wealth without having a permanent life insurance? Right? You want to protect yourself for a short period of time. What if you don't die? How do you want to build generational wealth? Now, there's what we call estate tax when someone dies. That's like 50.2%. If someone dies today, the government taxes the dead more than the living. The highest for income earner like 45%. The dead person, they will tax him 50.2%. Before the beneficiaries can have access to all the stocks, bond, and everything he has built around, they tax him. If you don't have like a permanent life insurance that can give you tax-free money to be able to pay off, that means you have to start looking at how do you want to liquidate these properties. How do you want to raise money? Now, this guy has money in the mutual funds. How do you raise money from mutual funds? Number 1, he has to go through probate court, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. It becomes a big problem for the family when someone dies. So understanding all of this concept put together will make you to make informed decision. Imagine what trauma people go through when they lose their loved ones, that refuses to do the right thing or didn't do the right setup. It becomes a big it's always a big problem when someone dies, with all of those things. I sat down with the family for the past 1 year. They've not been able to have that was in US access to the 401k. The 401k is a similar product like RRSP, but it was in mutual funds and they did not even have access to it. Right? So it's a big trauma for the family. Having knowledge of all of those things, they all work together, right? They all work together to take a good decision for ourselves. So for your life insurance, like I was saying, you can also use that tool to build wealth and have access to it. A lot of banks, rich people, they use that life insurance to have tax-free money for themselves, to build tax-free money for the family, because it's tax exempt. When you build something within your life insurance policy, for instance, that some permanent life insurance, once you have it, if you max out your TFSA, your RRSP, or the registered account, now a life insurance gives you a space for you to also put more money every year into investment, into stocks, bonds, and all of those things. It's strategic, right? Understanding how to utilize that tool is very, very important. And we have two different types of life insurance. We have the whole life and the universal life insurance. If you look at the whole life, it's been the investment part of it is being managed and controlled by the investment company, right? Where they give you guarantee. Okay, at 2 years, you get this amount that you'll be built in 10 years, in 20 years, right? But, the maximum I've seen in Canada in the rate of returns within the investment in a whole life is like 6.35, right? For somebody that is less conservative, that is conservative, I don't want to lose money, I don't want to take too much risk and all that, and you have the money, you can go for a whole life, right? But for somebody that is aggressive, I want to build something more for the future. I want 20%, I want 30% rate of returns, in the market, you can go for universal life insurance because it's more flexible and you can get as much as 20-30%. So what are the strategies in taking the money out? There are 3 ways you take money out of your permanent life insurance. It can be collateralized, right? I beat $1 million in my universal life insurance. Bank, please, can I have access to $1 million? This is my policy. I have $1 million. Can I have access to less than 900? So yeah, you can have it. You get $900,000 loan, right? Do whatever you want to do with it. If someone dies, what happens? Your death benefit, the total money you took away is taken out of the death benefit. They pay the remaining to beneficiaries. So you've actually have access to what you've built tax-free within your portfolio. Now you can do a policy loan and you can actually withdraw everything that you put in. And that's what we call ACB. Now, withdrawing everything you put in, all your premium that you pay over 25 years or 30 years, you can take it out, right? But when you're taking anything above what you've actually contributed over the years, which is your ACB, you pay taxes on the difference. So a permanent life insurance is good because it's just a way of another savings for you, right? If you don't overfund, so you can actually overfund it and all that. So those are different ways in which you can actually build wealth, go into stock market, diversify your portfolio, and grow something tax-free for the future. So in Experior, we work with top-notch insurance companies, wealth management companies to offer the best of the best solutions to meet the needs of our clients. If you look at Manulife, is #1 insurance company in Canada. They've been around for over 150 years. They have the biggest asset base. We can shop around and get the best solution, to meet your needs. We have IA. These are companies that one can actually use, to build your wealth. And also, these are investment partners that we can also use to help you build wealth and diversify your portfolio. So statistics says, retirement age is 65, right? And, it's sad to see that 54% of Canadians at 65 are still dependent. Despite the fact that we're living in a rich country, a lot of people are, is that they don't have the right education or they refuse to take the right education. 36% are still actively working. They have to continue to work, right? Otherwise, they can't pay their bills. 5% disease, only 4% can boast of having $1 million, and just 1% is wealthy. So it's very, very important to identify all of this. I don't want to be in the percentage of the 36% when I'm 65. At least I want to be, maybe if I'm not in the 1%, I want to be among the 4% at 65, because we want to enjoy our age. So taking the right decision, understanding where we want to grow our money is very, very important. So a lot of people don't have the financial education, no game plan, and no coach to be able to guide them through. So this statistics is just to open our eyes to see what exactly is happening in Canada. Now, the average Canadian owes 73,532. Credit rating agency Equifax total consumer debt increased 2.8% to 1.99 trillion. And Canadian household own an average of 1.71 for every dollar of disposable income. Now, if nearly 40% of Canadians under the age of 55 lost their jobs, they would have 1 week or less to cover costs like food and rent. Right? 70% of Canadians are concerned about not having enough money to support retirement. 70%. And 59% of Canadians are worried about losing their financial independence in retirement. Now, financial independence is the amount of money you need at retirement. If you want to retire at 65, how much do I need to be able to retire well? How much do I want to be getting every month without working at 65? And if God gives me long life to say 1995, so I have to have a plan, right? 30 years after retirement, and I have to start working towards it right now to have a good retirement, which is what is lacking in Canada. 82% Canadians who are currently employed worry that their finances will be impacted by critical illness. Now, I'm investing and investing. I don't have any protection. What happens if somebody falls sick at 55 or 40 or whatever? Anything can happen to anybody. All that money that you're putting away, investing and investing, they'll start using that money to treat the person when he's sick. So now he's okay and all that. He has lost all his retirement money. What happens? He has to continue to work till that kingdom come. So protecting, that's why they say foundation of financial planning starts with insurance. You want to protect today, tomorrow, and after. So why are so many people failing when it comes to their finances? Now, a lot of us, I know we make all these mistakes. We just want to probably do it ourselves. I can go into the stock market myself and do this and that. Yeah, like we've seen earlier, the stock market is good, but how are you going in? Which vehicle are you using to go in, right? Or some people just call you, I want to sell the transactional base, or if you go to the bank, you can open a TFSA, you can open this, yeah, you open everything. And you say, yeah, I have a TFSA with the bank. I have my RSP with the bank. What is your rate of returns? How is it going to help you to buy back time? I talked about Rule 72. Rule 72, when you divide your rate of returns, 72 by the rate of returns you're getting, it gives you an idea of how your money multiplies. If you are getting 3%, that means that money that you are putting is going to take 24 years before it multiplies. Would that meet up with your retirement plan? Or is 4% or whatever? If you are investing and you're not getting like 10, 12, 15%, I mean, someone like that will struggle at 65 because he's not investing right. The banks are also called out to make money, right? Why don't you invest where the banks are also investing? Go into more secured funds and make sure that these funds, these companies can guarantee you at least 12%. If it's 12%, 72 divided by 12, that's 6. That means if I put $10,000 today, in the next 6 years, it becomes 20,000. In the next 2 years, it becomes 40,000. In the next 6 years, rather, it becomes it. That's how to compound money that will work for your retirement, right? So it's very, very important to identify what is my rate of returns. So, I'm so sorry. Okay, I think I have to. Oh, hold on a minute. So, working with us, you'll be able to, have 2 times the savings rate of households that manage their finances for greater accumulated wealth over time. You have 1.5 faster portfolio growth than households that don't use investment advisor, and almost 3 times the asset of non-advice of household. So we actually show you how to properly protect yourself and your family. We show you how to get out of debt early. We help determine your risk profile and help develop investment strategies to best meet your retirement and investing needs, and also plan for your kids' education, providing support at every stage of your life to help achieve your financial goals and dreams. There's what we call the expert financial analysis that we use. We ask the right questions. We want to know, what are your goals? What are you doing right now? Where do you want to be? What are the things that you want to achieve? So that will help you structure, everything to beat up your goals. Like I said, building a house is just like the same thing building our finances. The first thing you put in place is foundation if you're building a house, which is protection if you're building your financial house. Eliminate your debt. Debt is a cancer now in Canada. A lot of people are in debt. If you are so much in debt, you cannot invest. You cannot set money aside, right? So we have to be careful on the type of debt we are getting in. Is it a debt that will make money for you, right? If you are owing to invest, yeah, that's good. That's a good debt. But if you are just buying things and it's not making anything for you, that's a bad debt, right? Invest, and this is how you can achieve your financial goals and dreams. So with our expert financial analysis, we're able to ask the right questions and offer you the best of the best solutions to meet the needs of all our clients. So thank you very much. That's the end of my presentation. We can take questions right now. While we arrange the questions, I just quickly want to charge my laptop so that I don't lose you guys.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. That was, eye-opening presentation. Thank you so much. So we can start sending in our questions now. The floor is now open for questions. Just like you mentioned from the start that there is no bad question. So if you have a question that is related to maybe this presentation or something else that you just have regarding this finance investment of the thing, please, this is the right time to ask that question right now. Okay, so why people are getting their, okay, yeah, people are asking question already. So our first question, I don't know, maybe our speaker is back on seat.
That's okay. I can handle it while he's trying to set it up.
Okay. So are you going to be taxed on dividends reinvested? So that's our one question that somebody asked.
I'm not sure I heard you correctly, please.
Are you going to be taxed on dividends reinvested? Like if you reinvest dividends?
Okay, I think we talked about the that should be under stocks, talking about dividends now. We talked about the realized gain and the unrealized gain. I think I can see the question in the chat room. Are you going to be taxed on the unrealized gain? So I believe what this person is trying to say is, okay, Mr. Gbalan is there, but let me quickly take this. What this person is trying to say is, so you buy shares now, and the value of stock is very volatile, is all over the place. It could go high, go low, depending on your kind of risk tolerance and appetite, whatever you could have invested into. So let's assume this one is all over the place. Today is $120 per share, or tomorrow is $60-something per share. The question now borders on, would you be taxed on your unrealized gain? Your unrealized gain is you haven't sold. You have not sold it. So if you have not sold the shares, it's all over the place anyway. When you sell your shares, that is at that point you've made a position on that particular stock. That is why it's called unrealized gain. It's unrealized gain because it's technically not something you've earned. You go into your portfolio, you see it's red today, tomorrow is green and all that. So until you sell, that is when you take a stand and a position on that particular stock. So it's all over the place today. Will you be taxed on it? You won't be taxed on something that has not been realized. You won't. But you sell, it comes as part of your tax remittance for the year once you take a position on it. Because stocks is the equity market is very, very volatile, it's just all over the place. And
Yeah.
I think have we answered that question? The
Yeah.
next question, I think. Okay, go ahead, sir. Sorry.
Yes. So if you can also display your contact, people are asking it, if you can display if you have it, or maybe you can send it in the chat if it's not in the slide so that people can also grab that in case if they want to reach out to you. So we have the next question. So the person is asking, how do we set up trust in Canada? I think that question is 2 in 1. And then what is the advantage of trust over will? So for the sake of the people that don't know what is trust, maybe you can help us to build that background before answering the question so that everybody will be benefited.
Okay, so setting up a trust, what is the advantage of let me see, what is the advantage of trust over will? Okay, yeah, so setting up a trust, you need to have a trust expert to be able to help you set up a trust. There are some legal people that can help you set up a trust. You sit down with them, they understand your plans and everything, then they can put a trust in place for you. The difference between the trust and the will, a will, number one, if you want privacy for yourself, even after death, a will cannot give you privacy because your will is out there. It's out there in the open, anybody can have access to it and all that. But trust helps you, your family, to keep everything private. Everything is built, it's within, so you don't need to go through probate or whatever. Wills is about, going to court and, having this thing endorsed. So the trust will help you to keep everything private. They can work hand in hand depending on how you want to set it up. So it's very, very good to sit down with a good estate planner and a legal team that will help you, give you the best option for wills and also the trust, right? They can work hand in hand, but you can, the main functions are also different. The trust can act in place of a will, right? Because whatever that you build within a will, you can have a structure put in place already, which is just like a will, right? But it protects everything that you're doing. It keeps it private. If anybody dies with a will, you can go and research and see how did they distribute their wealth and all that. So wills is out there. Trust keeps everything private for you. And also it can help you to build your wealth.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. And then somebody's asking that, do you advise anyone to invest in US stock markets with this current administration?
I would say yes. I would say yes. Yes, because, like we mentioned, let me show you something before. You go into the market when the market is down. You go into the market when the market is down. So you go into the market when the market is down, right? The people that have been in the market since January, March, before all these things started, a lot of people were screaming when Trump is, I'm losing my money. The best thing for you to do is to stay invested. Don't panic, right? Don't panic that I'm going to lose my money, I'm going to do this. No, you stay invested. Look at our lives. Can anybody tell me since you were born, you've had everything straight, going smoothly till today? That is the same thing with investment. But as we are growing, facing challenges in our lives and all this, we are still growing. We are not the same. Like yesterday, the same thing with investment. So you have to have that kind of a mindset that my money will grow. The market is down, put more money. When the market is down, you should be happy. Wow. Because when you go in, when the market goes down, you buy more shares at a very cheaper rate. Now, when the market stabilizes, your growth is going to be fantastic. You grow the money more, right? So the best way, don't go into panic attack when the market goes down. Is the best time to keep on pumping money. I remember I was talking to there was a lady that I did RSP stuff for. She invested large. She got very big returns, like almost $20,000 in returns. And I told her, let's put it into TFSA. She added $10,000 to it, making it 30. We put it into a TFSA. That TFSA, in a year, the money grew to like $38,000 just within a year. When the market crashed, the money went down to like 34, right? Because it was a balanced portfolio. So she only lost 50% of the gains that she had. But right now, the market is back. The money is almost $40,000 just within one year and few months, right? So look at these funds. I don't know, maybe you can see my screen. It's a diversified portfolio where you have Apple, Microsoft, and these are technology-based companies. Meta, that's Facebook, Amazon, Tesla. So you're putting like this is segregated funds. Your money is here and there in all these diversified portfolio, right? And let's see their history, because when you're investing, also you want to know what is the history of those funds. How can I plan and project the next 10 years, 20 years with this kind of a fund? I don't know, Mike. I don't know why it's not coming down. Okay, right. Now, this kind of a fund, what's the rate of returns? The history in 10 years, 17%. 17%. So that means if I'm investing $10,000, in the next 10 years, my $10,000 will have grown to almost $50,000 within this portfolio, right? So if you look at it, if you divide 72 by 17, what are you going to get? Sorry, my calculator is already. You know, that reduces the time that your money is going to compound for. Right? If you divide 72 by 17, it tells you that means when I put $10,000 in the next 3-4 years, my money multiplies. In the next this, my money multiplies. Right? So with this kind of a portfolio, you've diversified your risk. Right? And you're even protected, right? You're not directly into one stock for one company. You have in Amazon, you throw your money around and everything is growing together. Okay, so to answer your question, the best time to get into the market is when the market is down. The rate at which your money is going to compound is going to be faster than going into the market when it is up there, right? This is the best time.
Wow.
If I should, yeah, this is the best time to go to. Okay, so don't be afraid. You should be able to, like I said, you should be able to take lots of risk. And that's how rich people do. All these rich people that you see, they are able to take risk. It's not about risk. Life is a risk. Going out from your house, you're taking a risk. So why can't you take risk with your investment and get the fruit, right? So the best time to go into the market is when the market is down. Trump, they leverage, he uses power to make money for all his cronies. If you look at the first tariff he talked about, they were bragging. How much did you make? Right? They know what they are doing. They crashed it and they profit out of it. So we also have to be smart. When the market is down, don't be scared. Put your money, put your money, put your money. The market is coming back now. Now it's going to be growing, multiplying, compounding faster.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. And then that will lead me to the next question. One thing that I learned from from your presentation was that we should maximize our registered investment first before even, going. And that's really resonates with me, that maximize your registered investment. Why do you want to go and poke your nose in other things when you still have what government gives to you, right? But I want to ask that, how do one go into this stock market of buying company stocks and all that? How do one go into it? When do one know when the market is undervalued? Are there any resources, to monitor all these things, to be able to see which company can I buy from and all those?
Yeah, there are so many resources online. I can't open anything right now. There are so many resources. You have to read Financial Times, right? Go through the stock market. If you go to CNN, they talk about all of this. So you have to be in tune with all of these stations, Financial Times, New York Times, and all these to watch the trends and how everything is. You just have to be well informed about this. But taking that headache away from you is when you invest in all these insurance. You don't want to think about what the stock market is doing. You know that the history is this. Let me just do this and let me live my life and let me continue doing what you are, because you can't put everything into your head. You want to study the market. You want to do your own job. You want to take your family. Let other people take that burden away from you. As long as you can get all your guarantees and all that, leave it on autopilot and it runs itself. So that way you take a lot of burden away from you, right? So when you sit down with an advisor, you ask questions, look at the history I showed you. So there's something I always show people to. Let me open this. It's good for projection. It's very, very good for projection, right? If I want to, how much do I need to be able to retire well? Now, if I'm investing in my TFSA, 7,000 is the maximum every year. If I'm doing that every year for the next 25 years, with this kind of a fund that I showed you, how much will I have? Assuming I'm 40 years old now and I want to retire at 65, and I'm making sure I'm maxing out my TFSA every year, and I get average of 17%, what will I have? That means we'll have built $2.something million at 65. What if when I have the TFSA, I have $2 million because I'm maxing it out every month, every year, and I also have my IRSP. I maxed out also every year. That means I can have close like 4-5 million at 65 if I'm intentional about it. A lot of people treat their TFSA like emergency fund account. I put money. I need money in the next 2 years. You drop, you drop. You cannot grow anything that way. We have to be intentional about doing something for the future, right? Or even if you have a project to do in the next 10 years, you want to save towards it. You don't do. Once you take money out, you distort the flow, right? You have to be intentional. You have to leave it, let it go. In the next 10 years, if I put money in my TFSA and I'm getting average of this, what will I get, right? Like I said, the more you leave the money, the more it grows. If you say we're going to do it for 10 years, you see, the money is small in 10 years, but it compounds better after a while. So money needs time to grow. You have to give it time. You have to lock it down and, commit to it at 25. So when you're doing your planning, you have where you put emergency funds, right? It might not be your TFSA. It might just be an account that will be giving you small interest like 3-4% just for emergency sake. You have some funds there. Use your TFSA to grow something for yourself. That's where you get your money tax free, right? If you look at what you're putting in your TFSA now, let me see, let me show something. You do it for 25 years. Now, look at the interest accrued. That's $1.8 million. How much did you put in 25 years? It's not, if you deduct this, it's not even up to 200,000. This is the interest accrued on all your contribution, 1.8 million. And the total, if you take this out of this, it shows you what you contributed. So why do you want to distort the growth? So we have to be doing religiously 7K every year. That's my retirement plan. TFSA. I want my money tax free. Utilize that account, right? If you want to buy a house, utilize FHSA. If you still have no money, especially when your income is above $80,000 above, make use of your RSP. Get some money back, right? Get some money back and put it in your TFSA. Start balancing things out, right? So all of those things, they work together. It's not, no, I wouldn't put my money in TFSA. I won't use RRSP. You are doing yourself a disservice.
All right, thank you, sir. So the next question, the person is saying, why take out life insurance for your children when you can invest it in yourself?
That's a fantastic question. I talked about building wealth, future wealth for your children. Your RESP is for the kids' education, right? When they are 17, you take money out, you pay school fees, and that's it. If you want to give them a quick start in life, you have a life insurance where you can grow wealth within your permanent life insurance for them, right? Somebody that you just had a new baby, you put a policy of $100 and make sure that I want good cash value. Now, you're putting 208 into the RESP, you put $100 into life insurance policy. When that child graduates at 25 or maybe at 30, that guy will have like $100,000 in an investment within his portfolio that he can say, I don't want to do 9 to 5. I want to start a business. You go into your policy and you see 150, you see $200,000. Is that not something that you can start with? You've given that child a head start. You built a financial future for the child with the policy, right? You've given the child the coverage and you've built something that you can have access to today. If you read the story of Rockefellers, they plan all of those things along the way, right? It's not about if I die, but you have to see a life insurance policy as a tool to build wealth for yourself and for the children. So it's not about, it takes care if someone dies, but while I'm alive, I want something out of my policy. I want to use it for business owners, right? A lot of people, they don't know where to invest because their capital gains will come after you. Well, if you take up a life insurance policy and I'm putting like $2,000 every month or $3,000, I'll be building in the next 10, 15 years. I can have a project or I want to do something. I have like $1.5 million in my policy. And I said, okay, a bank, I have $1.5 million in my policy. I need $1.5 million or I need $1 million to do a project, for the future. I want to do this. Then strategically, you have access to that money. Do you know how much you're going to pay if you have $1 million in a non-registered account? You build it, and that, let's say you put a total of 200 and it goes to $1 million. You have a capital gain of 800, right? So you hold on to 400 and 400 your marginal tax rate. That's what government is going to take. So out of $1 million, you're only having 200 plus, maybe like 600 or 700,000 out of $1 million. So why won't you utilize tools that you can have access to the full money for yourself? Right? So it's very, very important to understand how to use these tools. Let me bust your bubble. For the high earners, 400,000, 500,000 earners, they pay a lot in taxes, especially if you're doing 9 to 5 and you're earning that high. But there are some strategies you can put in place, right? I can buy a life insurance for a charity organization, $200,000 every year. You know what happens? That $200,000 instead of going into the hands of the government, I use it to buy policy for a charity organization. I made the charity the owner, I made the charity beneficial, but I'm the one paying. You know what happens? The charity will give me 50% tax credits. So instead of losing the whole 200 to government, I still have $100,000 back by putting 200 into charity, by buying life insurance. You know, one has to learn how to use these tools strategically. They're all very, very important. So it's not all about if I die today. Yeah, if you want to build something and have access to all of those things, you have to use the correct tool. I use life insurance a lot for doctors, lawyers and that's the only way you want to build. Every other thing, they are going to take it. If you buy 2-3 I just laugh at 3-4 houses. If you die today, you put the family in problem now. They're going to take, government is going to take seriously. It's worrisome. But if you're utilizing life insurance policy properly, you can put more money, invest, put more money. Like the way I said it, build a trust, put more money, you have access. For a company, as a shareholder, whatever that you build within your life insurance, go to an account that is called CDA, right? So you can have access, as a shareholder, you can have access to the money within your CDA tax free. So you have to be strategic. So the vehicle in which you are using to go into all these markets is very, very important.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. And another question that looks like it. So the person is asking, my company is offering me life insurance, disability, and they are giving me an option to pay me the cash on my paycheck. As a Christian that we believe in faith, should I take the cash or should I subscribe to the life insurance disability that the company is offering?
Sorry, can you take that question?
Okay, so my company, they are offering me life insurance, disability coverage, and all. With that option, there is an option that they want to give you the money, they want to pay you in cash or your paycheck. So the person is asking, as a Christian that we believe in faith, nothing will happen to us. Should I take the cash or should I subscribe to the life insurance policy that the company is offering?
Yes, so we are people of faith, but there is one thing that is sacrosanct. Everybody is going to die. One day, the time we don't know. Either you have faith, even Jesus Christ that we believe in died, right? He even died early at 30-something, right? So irrespective of your faith, one day, which you don't know, one is going to die. I just lost one of my friend, Coyote Peters. He used to be one of those actors and all that. He just died. He just buried his father last month. Last week, he's dead, right? He has 3 kids, right? I've sat down with a client, 37-year-old, last year, April. I, did a plan. He got a good policy, $1.5 million with critical illness. By December, I was just called that this guy was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, 34 active year IT guy. You said, okay, no shit, what happened and all that? 3 weeks after, they just called me again, hey, he's dead. The day he got the key to the new house he bought, he was rushed to the hospital. He never slept in that house, right? And he's dead, 37 years old, right? So what am I saying in essence? It's very important. All of those things are very, very important, when you are doing your you're planning, you have to protect yourself. You have to be ready to, wisdom is profitable to direct, right? Another quote in the Bible says, it is only a wise man that leaves inheritance for the children. How do you leave inheritance for the children if you don't do all of those things? How do you become a wise man, right? And also, when you talk about company insurance is good. It is always an addendum to what you have personally for yourself. I tell everybody, take a personal insurance. What company does is they give you 2x or 3x of your income. Would that be enough for your family if you die today? The answer is no. They complain they are not Father Christmas. They know what they are doing. But don't think because you're paying cheap is good, is going to meet your need. No. They are also smart. You are working with them, they give you, but a lot of people say, I have company insurance, I don't think anything. No, you have to go and sit down and have something personal for your family. For instance, if you buy a home, who cares? The company doesn't care. They only cover your income. If your income is $100,000, they give you $200,000 coverage or $300,000. They give you all those things to attract you that you have, and it's going to be a term insurance. Maybe for 10 years or 20 years, you pay cheap, or you're happy you're doing it. You know what happens? A lot of people, they stick to that. After 10 years or 20 years, that policy lapses and they have a lot of liabilities. Now they are older. The cost of insurance will have gone up and they can't get one anymore. It becomes very, very, so, I mean, any smart person, if you have insurance with your company, all well and good, is good. Sit down and lock in something down that will actually take care of your needs when you pass away. So company life insurance is meant to be an addendum to your own personal plan, right? That is what is going to replace your income properly for your family when you die. So why do you want to take the money? When the company offers you something, what they're offering you is cheap, take it and still do your own plan for yourself. If you take the money, you spend it. You spend it on the frivolities, and at the end of the day, there's nothing it's doing for you. So always take the companies what they have to offer. They also offer good benefits. Take it, maximize it, find out what's the total benefits they have in a year. So match it up so you can get all those benefits. Now you are getting more money for yourself, right? In terms of group retirement plans, there are GRSP. So it's good to take it, max it out, take more money for it. It's about you acquiring more money for yourself, right? So also always monitor your CRA account. Look at your TFSA tax contribution limit, your RSP tax contribution limit. You have to be working with that. How much room do I have? I need to look for money to put into this. It's going to make me this, right? You know, I also use one strategy for people. If you have a large RSP contribution room and you are thinking of buying a house, right? With IE, you can use that to do what we call, you get HBP loan, where you might not get a direct loan, right? So they use it to fill your room contribution, right? You don't see the money. Then when after 3 months, they lock it up in accounts, after 3 months, they take it back. At the end of the day, they give you a receipt that you contributed maybe 50,000 or 30,000 into your RSP. You know what that does to you? When you're filing your taxes the following year, because you just bought a house, you get a lump sum back because you use that system. But the catch is you have to contribute that money physically 15 years back into your RSP. So you will have used that to get money for you. So you have to use all this system. The lady I talked about, that's what I used for her, and she got almost 20,000 back in tax returns. She added 10,000 to it, and you know, our money is growing. I was looking at her portfolio last week. I met her like 3 years ago. I built a portfolio to almost $100,000 in both our RSP and at FSC account put together, right? By using all this strategy. So she's growing money, locked down there.
Wow. Thank you, sir. So, another question. So this person is asking that are these investment options, are they open to non-Canadians? How can somebody who doesn't, live or reside in Canada invest in?
Absolutely no. Absolutely no. Before you invest in Canada, they need your SIN number. So it's always attached to your SIN so that they can track, they can trace, they can see all that. They can tax you. So you need to have a SIN number. Either your SIN number starts with 9 or 1 or 5 or 6, whatever. You need SIN number to actually. So non-Canadian residents cannot invest there. The only
Okay,
thing you can do, which I think it does, in case you want to take a life insurance policy for your parents when they come visiting, right? If they're in good health, right? Like Industrial Alliance can actually approve $100,000 coverage for visitors into Canada, provided they are in good health condition. So that's another way in which you can help yourself. If you have somebody that is of age, I'm sorry to say, if they die, you get to have $100,000 to help them, bury them, and also have money for party, right? So when your parent come visiting, if you have the money, get something in place for them, because if they die, you are going to take money out. So either you go take it out from your investment, your retirement plan, and go to Nigeria and do the whole thing. So we have to always plan ahead, right? We have to always plan ahead, right? Even if they come visiting, you need to get travel insurance in place for them in case of emergency. I've seen a lot of people that fall into that trouble or into that trap that I can't. She said, "Oh, God, I cover them with the blood of Jesus. When they come, they know nothing's going to happen. What if something happens? The medical services there is crazy. I've seen one woman looking for $60,000. She came to do a Google, heal and heart, nothing happened. All of a sudden, something happened and they had to treat her. If she had just bought a travel insurance that is paying like $100 every month, 200, that would have saved her a lot. She will have a coverage of 100,000, and that would have helped to pay for those things. So we have to make good decisions at every point in time, because anything can happen to anybody at any time.
okay. So what about a temporary resident who has a SIN number? They can be part of all these investment options, right?
Yes, as long as you have a SIN number, yeah, they can. Students, work permit, refugee, permanent, you can, of course, you're a taxpayer in Canada, so okay.
Okay. Let me ask you this question, sir. Should I go into stock market investment or should I start a business? What do you have to say?
Should you start what?
Should I start a business or
A
should I?
business.
Yeah.
Everything has its own everything is always good to build a business for today and for the future, right? If you have a plan, a business plan that is good, yes, it's good to have a business. The business will always fund all of these things. Out of the business, you can put it into it. So we have to be strategic. In Canada, it's good to have a business because that's how another strategy you can use to save in taxes, right? They tax them, they are in a lower bracket, right? If you have a business, your corporation and all that, if they're going to tax you, it's going to be like 25%, irrespective of. So you can hide a lot of things under the umbrella of your company, because you write off all your expenses. If I take you out on a dinner as a businessman, I can just, whatever I spend, I'll put it down, I'll write it off at the end of the year. My internet, my gas for my car, my insurance, my this, all our daily expenses that we spend, we can put it on the corporation and it writes everything off for us. So when we file our taxes, we can reduce our tax burden. So it's good to have a business in Canada. Even if you have a 9 to 5, look for a business that you can be doing by the side to also help with saving taxes. It's very good, but you cannot separate them. While you're trying to build a business, you can also start investing, into your future, right? So it's just balancing the whole thing. A lot of people say, I want to build a business for the future and focus on my business. I don't want to invest. I mean, that is also dangerous. the rules and laws in any country can change. Look at what is happening in the tariffs, and a lot of businesses are scrambling, right? So if you focus strictly on business, I want to build on it, and something happens like that, it puts you in limbo. You're just, by the time the plant is, the whole thing is gone, right? So you always have a portfolio that keeps you liquid for your retirement. It's very, very important. Whatever you're doing by the side is very, but that liquidity is very, very important. A lot of people focus on properties. In Canada last year, upper year, a lot of people, I met a man, a family, they depended on the property, they were getting rental and all that. Unfortunately, the tenants were not paying. Almost 2 years, they were dragging in court. They couldn't survive. They had to go back to start working. So liquidity is very, very important. If you are liquid at 65, you will no guarantee $5,000 is coming. $6,000 is coming. So you can, every other thing you're doing is a plus. You have to be liquid. So
Okay, thank you so much.
investing in all those things will help you keep you liquid.
Okay. Two more questions before we round up. Somebody's asking, which one is better, investing in real estate or segregate investment?
Well, I just explained right now, but I would say let's quickly do a small analogy. If I want to do a down payment in Ontario, let's say I'm paying $100,000 for down payment of a house, right? And I put $100,000, that same money, I put in segregated funds. I live for 25 years. So I leave $100,000 in a segregated fund for 25 years, right? It gives me $5.something million. Now, if I go back, I wish I could go into the mortgage stuff. So let me just explain. I put $100,000 to buy a home for $1 million. I'm paying interest rate of let's say 4% or 5%. Now, my amortization period is 30 years, right? So now I'm paying back for 30 years, right? So by the time I finish paying for the home in 30 years, I will have paid them almost $2 million. That is times 2 of the cost price, right? Or 2.something million. I'm not sure in 25 years that house will be sold for 5 million. I can't say that, right? The way the market is now slowed down, the growth is slowed down and all that. So let's say in my $1 million house, my property appreciates, let's say 30%. So tell me, which one is better? Locking down $100,000 in my TFSA account and get $5 million free, or putting $100,000 to buy a property, maybe my second house, right? Putting it in a property, I'm in debt for 25 years. I'm running for property tax, I'm paying mortgage, I'm paying this on that property, right? Before I can gain full ownership, or can say I'm on the positive side, is when I finish paying in 25 years. So you still owe nothing, right? And leaving $100,000, I would prefer to put my money into segregated funds and leave the headache of a property out of it.
Wow, thank you so much.
You have to be strategic. You have to understand all of these things. It's good to buy a house. Yeah, maybe my first home. Yeah, fine. My second home. Now, if I want to go into property again, probably I've maxed out. There's no room. I still have this money is just gushing out. Yeah, I can go and buy a commercial property. The commercial property, and start building. It's not as if property is bad, right? So it depends on where are you right now? What do you need to do first, right? Before I go into this, if I put myself, a lot of people lock down property and they are living in hell right now, trying to rush to get mortgage. They cannot put anything aside because they are struggling to pay and all that, right? Imagine somebody paying $10,000 for mortgage. Yeah, man, what do you want to put aside? You are in a trap already. But if you have rented a house or you pay like 2,000-3,000 for the rent, you put your money is building. I mean, 5 billion in 25, that's a lot of money. So it depends on where you are right now, right? Property is good. I'm not saying it's not good. In Canada, it's overpriced. In Canada is like 40% of the cost of a house has gone into the hands of government. And that's why the legislators are trying to see it's difficult because you can't reduce it. If you look at, if you go to Niagara Falls now, right? The other side is US. A property that is selling for 500, the same building, the same structure, the same size, they sell it for 150 in US. So it's overpriced. So it's very, very difficult, breaking even with properties in Canada. It's overpriced. It's overpriced. So you have to sit down and understand properly, where am I? Well, what can I do better? If you put in your money in investment, 100K will give you 5 million. If I have 100K, I'd rather lock it down in this something like this for 25 years. I know it's free money for me. After 25 years, there's no structure, there's no property that can give you this. Because by the time you calculate your mortgage, the interest on the mortgage and all that, you take it away from what the property is. At that time, what will be left? Can you take $5 million from that kind of a property? Never.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. And so for the last question, maybe in just 1 minute, because you are a financial expert, right? What do you think is the future of cryptocurrency?
Sorry?
The future of cryptocurrency.
I tell you, I don't always go into that because it's not, our license is not doesn't cover cryptocurrency, right? It's if you have the risk appetite, if you understand it properly before we go into it, right? That's the only thing. The future is, somebody is good, but my license won't permit me to talk about crypto currency, right? So you just have to study and understand the market is good, right? You have to study, know the kind of when going, when who is backing it, know what they are doing and all that before you put your money. So you can always spread your risk. Whatever you're putting into that, it might be depending on your risk appetite. So I will not really talk about crypto. Just study the area properly, and because you don't want to lose your money. It's painful when you work hard to get something and you lose it because of bad decision.
Thank you so much, sir. I think that will be all the question and answer, for this session. So I'm gonna hand over to Pastor Shegun.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you, my sister. I've learned a lot.